I should have known something was wrong when my sister wouldn't let me hold my own daughter. My name is Lisa, and I'm about to tell you the most devastating story of betrayal you'll ever hear. 3 months ago, I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. Today, I'm sitting in a hotel room, legally barred from seeing the child I carried in my heart for 2 years. Let me back up. Lisa, honey, you need to stop torturing yourself. That's what my husband Luke said 18 months ago when I came home from yet another failed fertility appointment. Mascara streaked down my cheeks. Maybe we should consider other options. Other options? Like I hadn't already researched every possibility, spent our savings on treatments, turned our bedroom into a medical schedule. Luke meant well, I thought. He just didn't understand the ache that consumed me every time I saw a pregnant woman or heard a baby cry. I can't give up, I whispered that night, curled against his chest. I need this, Luke. I need to be a mother. He stroked my hair. I know, baby. I know. That's when my younger sister Amelia surprised us both. I'll do it, she announced over Sunday dinner at Mom's house. I'll be your surrogate. I nearly choked on my wine. Amelia, that's huge. You can't just... I'm serious. She reached across the table and grabbed my hand. Lisa, you've wanted this for so long. I'm young, I'm healthy, and honestly, I want to help you have the family you deserve. Luke leaned forward. Amelia, that's incredibly generous, but nothing. Her eyes sparkled with determination. We're family. This is what family does. I started crying right there at the dinner table. Not the pretty tears you see in movies, but ugly, grateful sobs that came from somewhere deep in my chest. After 2 years of needles and disappointment, and watching Luke's enthusiasm slowly fade, someone was offering me hope. The next few months were a whirlwind of legal paperwork, medical appointments, and cautious excitement. Amelia moved into our guest room to make the process easier. She was perfect, took her vitamins religiously, went to every appointment, even gave up her beloved wine without complaint. You're going to be such an amazing mom, she'd say, rubbing her growing belly. This little one is so lucky. Luke seemed happier too. He'd come home from work with flowers for both of us, joke about having 2 pregnant women to take care of. Sometimes I'd catch him and Amelia talking quietly in the kitchen, and when I'd ask what about, they'd just smile. Baby stuff, Amelia would say. Luke's got so many ideas about the nursery. I should have paid attention to those whispered conversations. Should have noticed how they'd stop talking when I entered a room, or how Luke started working late more often after Amelia moved in. But I was so focused on the miracle growing inside my sister that I missed all the warning signs. The pregnancy was textbook perfect. Every ultrasound showed a healthy baby girl. I went to every appointment, held Amelia's hand during the difficult moments, and slowly let myself believe this was really happening. What are you going to name her? Amelia asked one evening, about a month before her due date. Raylan, I said immediately. Raylan Pierce. I've had that name picked out for years. She smiled, but something flickered across her face. That's beautiful. 3 weeks later, Amelia went into labor at 2 a.m. Luke and I rushed her to the hospital, and after 12 hours of labor, our daughter was born. She's perfect, the doctor said, placing the tiny, screaming bundle on Amelia's chest. Congratulations. I was crying again, but these were tears of pure joy. After everything we'd been through, she was finally here. My daughter, my miracle. Can I hold her? I asked, reaching out with trembling hands. That's when everything changed. Amelia pulled the baby closer to her chest and looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Cold. Almost possessive. Actually, she said, her voice steady despite having just given birth, I think we need to talk. Luke stepped forward, and I noticed he wasn't looking at me with the joy I expected. Instead, his face wore the same strange expression as Amelia's. Lisa, he said quietly, there's something you need to know. The room suddenly felt freezing cold. What do you mean? Amelia shifted the baby, my baby, away from me. This isn't your daughter, Lisa. The words hit me like a physical blow. What are you talking about? Of course she's mine, Amelia said firmly. Ours, Luke's and mine. I looked back and forth between them, waiting for the punchline, for someone to tell me this was some kind of sick joke. Instead, Luke reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. You're being served, he said. Divorce papers and a restraining order. That's when I knew my life was about to become a nightmare. You can't be serious. My voice came out as a whisper. The hospital room felt like it was spinning. Luke's jaw was set in that stubborn way I knew too well. We're completely serious, Lisa. This baby was conceived naturally. Amelia and we've been together for months. Together? I grabbed the bed rail to steady myself. What do you mean together? Amelia adjusted the baby in her arms, looking almost bored. We fell in love, Lisa. It happens. During the surrogacy? While you were carrying my baby, Amelia interrupted. Luke and I have been sleeping together since I moved in. This pregnancy? It has nothing to do with your fertility treatments. The room tilted. I felt like I was going to vomit. That's impossible. We did the implantation. I was there. We all were there. Luke shrugged. The treatment didn't take. What did take was what happened between Amelia and me 3 days later. You're lying. I reached for the baby again. She's mine. I've been planning for her, preparing. Don't touch her. Amelia's voice turned sharp. Security. 2 hospital security guards appeared in the doorway like they'd been waiting outside. Ma'am, you need to step back, one of them said to me. Step back? This is my daughter, my husband. What is happening right now? Luke pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. It was him and Amelia, clearly intimate, clearly together. The timestamp showed it was taken 2 months ago. We didn't plan this, Lisa, but we can't help how we feel. How you feel? My voice was getting louder. Other patients were probably hearing this whole nightmare. You're my husband. She's my sister. Was your husband? Luke corrected. Those papers are real. I filed 3 weeks ago. One of the security guards stepped closer. Ma'am, if you don't calm down, we'll have to escort you out. Escort me out? I'm her mother. No, Amelia said firmly. You're not. I gave birth to her. Luke is her father. You're just the woman who couldn't have kids. The cruelty of that statement hit me like a slap. I stared at my sister, the woman who'd held my hand through every failed pregnancy test, who'd cried with me after every miscarriage. Amelia, please. This is insane. You can't just... I can do whatever I want with my own child. She looked down at the baby with genuine tenderness. Can't I, little Raylan? Don't call her that. That's the name I picked. And it's beautiful, Amelia smiled. That's why we're keeping it. Luke stepped forward with another envelope. This is a restraining order, Lisa. You can't come within 500 feet of us or the baby. Us? I looked back and forth between them. You're really doing this? Both of you? We're in love, Luke said simply. And we're a family now. What about our house? Our life? Everything we built? The house is in my name, Luke said. You have 48 hours to get your things. 48 hours? I felt like I was drowning. Luke, we've been married for 6 years. You can't just... I can, and I am. He looked at his watch. Actually, make that 47 hours now. The baby started crying, and Amelia immediately began soothing her. Shh. It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy's here. Mommy. She called herself Mommy. I need to call my lawyer, I said, fumbling for my phone. Good luck with that, Luke said. I've already spoken to Davidson. He's representing me now. Davidson was our family lawyer, the man who'd helped us with our wills, our house purchase, everything. He can't represent both of us in a divorce. He's not. He's representing me. You'll need to find your own attorney. I looked around the room desperately. This is insane. You're both insane. People don't just... This doesn't happen in real life. It's happening, Amelia said softly. Lisa, I'm sorry it has to be this way, but... Sorry? I stepped toward her, and both security guards tensed. You're sorry? You stole my husband and my baby, and you're sorry? I didn't steal anything. Luke chose me, and this baby was never yours to begin with. Ma'am, you need to leave now, the security guard said firmly. I'm not leaving without my daughter. She's not your daughter, Luke said, and if you don't leave voluntarily, they'll call the police. I looked at the baby one more time. She had Luke's dark hair and what looked like my nose. She was supposed to be mine. I'd imagined holding her, feeding her, watching her take her first steps. This isn't over, I said. Yes, it is, Amelia replied. It's very much over. The security guards escorted me out of the hospital room, down the hall, and into the elevator. Other visitors stared as I was walked out like a criminal. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and tried to process what had just happened. My husband was leaving me for my sister. They were claiming my surrogate baby was theirs. I was being kicked out of my own house. I reached into my purse for tissues and felt an envelope I didn't remember putting there. It was from the fertility clinic, marked confidential, urgent. I'd been so focused on the birth that I'd forgotten about it completely. With shaking hands, I tore it open. What I read inside changed everything. The letter was dated 3 days before Raylan's birth. I read it twice in my car before the words actually sank in. Due to a laboratory error in sample handling, we must inform you that the sperm sample used in your IVF procedure on March 15th was not from your designated partner, Luke Meyer. DNA analysis confirms you are the biological mother of the resulting pregnancy. We urgently need to discuss this matter. Please contact Dr. Hamilton immediately. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the paper. Luke wasn't the father, but I was definitely the mother. I drove straight to my best friend Yvette's apartment, probably breaking several traffic laws. She opened the door in her pajamas, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. Jesus, Lisa, what happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. They took her. The words tumbled out between sobs. Luke and Amelia. They took my baby and they're saying she's theirs and they served me divorce papers right there in the hospital room. What? Slow down. Start from the beginning. I told her everything. The betrayal, the restraining order, being escorted out by security. Yvette's face went from confused to horrified to furious. Those absolute pieces of shit, she said when I finished. Your own sister? And Luke? God, I never liked him. But this... There's more. I handed her the letter from the clinic. She read it, her eyes getting wider. Lisa, do you understand what this means? It means Luke isn't Raylan's biological father. But they don't know that. It means you have proof that baby is yours. Legally, biologically, completely yours. I wiped my eyes. But how do I prove Luke and Amelia are lying about their relationship? What if they really were sleeping together? What if... Lisa, stop. Think about this logically. If they were really having an affair and she got pregnant naturally, why would they go through with the surrogacy procedure at all? She was right. It didn't make sense. I need to call someone, a lawyer who isn't Davidson. I know someone, Yvette said immediately. Evelyn. She's a family law attorney and she's ruthless. I'll call her right now. 20 minutes later, we were sitting in Evelyn's office. She was a sharp-looking woman in her 40s, with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. Show me everything, she said. I handed over the divorce papers, the restraining order, and the clinic letter. Evelyn read through them methodically, making notes. This is interesting, she said finally. Very interesting. Lisa, I need you to think carefully. During the months Amelia was staying with you, did you notice anything unusual? Any changes in behavior, routine, anything at all? They would whisper sometimes, stop talking when I came into rooms. Luke started working late more often. Did you ever see them being physically affectionate? I thought about it. Not really. I mean, Luke would bring flowers for both of us, but he was always like that. Thoughtful. What about Amelia? Did her behavior toward you change? She seemed, I don't know, more confident maybe? Like she had a secret, but I thought it was just excitement about the baby. Evelyn made more notes. I'm going to need you to write down everything you can remember. Every conversation, every strange moment, every detail. Can you do that? Yes, but what about the restraining order? I can't even see my daughter. We're going to challenge that immediately, and Lisa. Evelyn leaned forward. I want you to be prepared. If what I suspect is true, this is going to get very ugly before it gets better. What do you suspect? I suspect your sister and husband planned this from the beginning. The question is how far back the planning goes and what evidence they might have fabricated. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Lisa, it's Bianca, Amelia's friend. Can we meet? There are things you need to know. I showed the text to Evelyn and Yvette. Don't respond yet, Evelyn said. This could be a setup, or it could be exactly what we need. What do you mean? If Amelia confided in her friend, Bianca might have information that could help us. But we need to be careful. Meet her in a public place and record everything. Is that legal? In this state, yes. As long as one party consents to the recording. That would be you. I texted Bianca back. Coffee shop on 5th Street, 1 hour. I'm coming with you, Yvette said. No, Evelyn interrupted. Lisa should go alone. If Bianca sees other people, she might get spooked and not talk. An hour later, I was sitting across from Bianca in a crowded coffee shop. She looked nervous, kept glancing around like she expected someone to jump out at us. I shouldn't be doing this, she said quietly. Doing what? Talking to you. Amelia would kill me if she knew. Bianca, what's going on? Please, I need to understand what happened. She took a deep breath. Amelia's been planning this for months, Lisa. Maybe longer. Planning what exactly? Getting Luke to leave you. Taking over your life. She pulled out her phone. I have screenshots of our text conversations. She told me everything. My heart was pounding. Show me. She scrolled through her phone and turned it toward me. The messages were from 3 months ago. Amelia, it's working. Luke's completely hooked. Bianca, are you sure about this? Lisa's your sister. Amelia, Lisa's had everything handed to her. The successful career, the perfect husband, the nice house. It's my turn, Bianca. But the baby, Amelia, will be mine. Luke doesn't even want kids with Lisa anymore. He told me himself. I felt sick reading it, but I forced myself to keep looking. There's more, Bianca said quietly. About the fertility clinic. What about it? Amelia knew someone there, someone who owed her a favor. The room started spinning again. What kind of favor? I think, Bianca said, she might have arranged for the mix-up herself. What do you mean she arranged the mix-up? My coffee cup was shaking in my hands. Bianca looked around nervously again. There's this guy, Dante. He owns the fertility clinic where you had your treatments done. Amelia dated him for like 6 months last year. Dated him? She never mentioned dating anyone named Dante. Because she didn't want anyone to know. He's older, married, has kids. It was this whole secret thing. Bianca pulled up more screenshots. Look at this. The message was from 2 weeks before my IVF procedure. Amelia, Dante owes me big time. I'm calling in that favor. Bianca, what favor? Amelia, let's just say his wife doesn't know about our little arrangement or the money he's been skimming from the clinic. I stared at the phone. She was blackmailing him? That's what it sounds like. And Lisa? There's something else. Something worse. Worse than this? Bianca hesitated. The baby, Raylan. I don't think Luke is the father either. What do you mean? The clinic letter said, I don't think Amelia and Luke were ever really sleeping together. Not the way they're claiming. My head was spinning. But they said they were in love, that they'd been having an affair or... It's all fake, Lisa. Amelia told me the whole plan. She was going to seduce Luke after the baby was born, make him think he was the father, and then they'd kick you out together. But the photo Luke showed me, they looked intimate. Amelia's good with Photoshop and staging photos. Bianca scrolled through more messages. Look at this one from last week. Amelia. Luke's so stupid. He actually believes the baby is his. Men are so easy to manipulate when you stroke their ego. I felt like I was going to be sick. So if Luke isn't the father and the clinic mixed up the samples, then who? I think, Bianca said quietly, it might be Dante himself. The coffee shop suddenly felt too loud, too crowded. Are you saying Dante used his own sperm? I'm saying Amelia had a lot of control over what happened at that clinic, and she's been obsessed with having a baby that looked like family. What better way than to use someone she was sleeping with? I pulled out my phone and called Evelyn. I need to see you right now, I said, when she answered, and we need to get to that fertility clinic today. An hour later, Evelyn and I were sitting in the waiting room of Hamilton Fertility Services. The receptionist had told us Dr. Hamilton was with a patient, but Evelyn had insisted it was urgent legal business. Mrs. Meyer? A tall man in his late 30s appeared. He was handsome in that polished professional way, but his eyes looked nervous. I'm Dr. Hamilton. I understand you have some concerns about your recent treatment. We have concerns about a lot of things, Evelyn said smoothly. Perhaps we could speak privately? In his office, Evelyn laid out the clinic's letter about the sample mix-up. Dr. Hamilton, my client received this letter 3 days ago. We need to know exactly what happened and who was responsible. Dante's face went pale. This is highly unusual. Patient confidentiality doesn't apply when there's been medical malpractice, Evelyn interrupted, and possibly fraud. Fraud? I don't understand. I leaned forward. Dante, I know about you and Amelia. He went completely white. I don't know what you're talking about. We have text messages, Evelyn said. Screenshots of conversations between Amelia and her friend discussing your, arrangement. Dante's hands were shaking now. What do you want? The truth, I said. Whose sperm was actually used in my procedure? He was quiet for a long moment, staring at his hands. This could ruin me, my marriage, my practice, everything. Your marriage is already over if this comes out in court, Evelyn said matter-of-factly. Your practice, too. But if you cooperate now, we might be able to work something out. Amelia came to me 6 months ago, he said finally. She said she wanted to help her sister, but she also wanted compensation. What kind of compensation? Money. And she wanted to ensure the baby would be genetically related to your family. My stomach dropped. So you used your own sample. She convinced me it was the best option. Said you'd never have to know, that she'd raise the baby as her own anyway. But that's not what happened, Evelyn said. She's claiming the baby was conceived naturally with Lisa's husband. Dante looked confused. That's impossible. I know for certain the pregnancy resulted from the IVF procedure. I personally handled the sample preparation. So you're the biological father, I said. Yes, and I have the DNA records to prove it. Evelyn was taking notes rapidly. Dr. Hamilton, we're going to need copies of all records related to this case. Patient confidentiality is waived when fraud is involved. There's something else, Dante said quietly. Amelia recorded our conversations. She said it was insurance, in case I ever tried to back out of our agreement. She was blackmailing you? Essentially, yes. She threatened to tell my wife about our relationship and report the financial irregularities she discovered in our billing. What financial irregularities? Evelyn asked sharply. I've been adjusting some insurance claims. Nothing major, just enough to cover some personal expenses. Evelyn and I exchanged glances. This was getting bigger by the minute. Dr. Hamilton, Evelyn said, I strongly suggest you get your own attorney. This situation is about to become very complicated. As we left the clinic, I felt a mix of vindication and horror. I had proof that Raylan was my biological daughter, but the web of lies and manipulation was deeper than I'd imagined. What happens now? I asked Evelyn. Now we prepare for war, she said, because when Amelia and Luke realize what we know, they're going to fight dirty. My phone buzzed with another text from Bianca. Emergency. Amelia knows I talked to you. She's planning something big for tomorrow. Meet me tonight. Same place. I showed the text to Evelyn. This is escalating fast, she said. Are you ready for what's coming? I thought about my daughter, about the lies that had been told, about the family that had betrayed me. I'm ready, I said. Let's destroy them. Bianca was already at our table when I arrived at the coffee shop that evening. She looked terrified, constantly checking her phone and glancing toward the door. She knows, Bianca said the moment I sat down. Amelia knows I've been talking to you. How? I was stupid. I left my phone unlocked when I went to the bathroom at her place. She saw our text thread. Bianca's hands were shaking. Lisa, she went crazy, started screaming about loyalty and family and how I was ruining everything. What did you tell her? Nothing. I swear I didn't tell her what we discussed, but she knows something's up. Bianca pulled out a small recording device. That's why I called you. She made a phone call right after she confronted me. I recorded it. She pressed play. Amelia's voice came through clearly. Luke, we have a problem. Someone's been talking to Lisa. No, I don't know how much she knows, but we need to move faster. Tomorrow? Are you sure the paperwork is ready? Good. Once it's filed, she won't be able to do anything about it. The recording continued. What about Dante? Have you talked to him? He better keep his mouth shut or he'll lose everything. I don't care if he's nervous. He's in this as deep as we are. My blood went cold. What paperwork is she talking about? I don't know, but there's more. Bianca fast-forwarded the recording. The adoption papers will make it official. Once I'm legally Raylan's mother and you're the father, Lisa can fight all she wants. We'll have custody, the house, everything. No, she can't prove anything. Who's going to believe her crazy story about sample mix-ups? I grabbed Bianca's arm. Adoption papers? What adoption papers? She's been forging documents, Bianca whispered, making it look like you agreed to give up parental rights as part of the surrogacy contract. That's impossible. I never signed anything like that. She's good with computers, Lisa. Really good. And she has access to your signatures from all the legitimate surrogacy paperwork. I immediately called Evelyn. They're filing adoption papers tomorrow. Forged ones. Meet me at my office in 20 minutes, Evelyn said, and bring Bianca. At Evelyn's office, we played the full recording. Evelyn's expression grew darker with each revelation. This is conspiracy to commit fraud, she said when it finished. Multiple felonies. Bianca, are you willing to testify to how you obtained this recording? Will I get in trouble? Possibly. But Lisa's the victim here, and you're helping expose a serious crime. Most prosecutors would offer you immunity in exchange for cooperation. Bianca nodded reluctantly. Okay, I'll do it. Good. Now, Lisa, we need to file an emergency motion first thing tomorrow morning. We're going to stop this adoption before it happens. What if we're too late? We won't be. I'm calling Judge Morrison tonight. She owes me a favor, and she doesn't tolerate fraud in her courtroom. My phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Don't answer it, Evelyn said. Let it go to voicemail. The voicemail notification popped up immediately. I put it on speaker. Lisa, it's Dante. You need to know something. Amelia just called me. She's threatening to release recordings of our conversations if I don't back up her story about the baby being Luke's. She wants me to falsify medical records. I can't do this anymore. Call me back. Evelyn was already dialing. Dr. Hamilton, this is Evelyn Montgomery, Lisa's attorney. We need to meet immediately. No, it can't wait until tomorrow. Tonight. An hour later, we were back at the fertility clinic. Dante looked like he hadn't slept in days. She's completely lost it, he said. Amelia called me 3 times today. She wants me to create fake records showing that the IVF procedure failed and that any pregnancy would have to be natural. Can you do that? I asked. Technically, yes, but it would be destroying evidence and falsifying medical records. I could lose my license and go to prison. What exactly is she threatening you with? Evelyn asked. Dante pulled out his phone. She recorded us having sex multiple times. She's threatening to send the videos to my wife and post them online if I don't cooperate. That's revenge porn, Evelyn said immediately. Also illegal. Dr. Hamilton, you're a victim here too. But my wife? My kids? If this comes out? If you help Amelia commit fraud, it's going to come out anyway, I said. At least this way. You're on the right side. Dante was quiet for a long moment. What do you need from me? The real medical records, Evelyn said. All of them. And I want you to document every conversation you've had with Amelia, every threat she's made. I can do that, but there's something else you should know. Dante looked directly at me. The baby, Raylan, she's definitely mine biologically. But Lisa, you're absolutely her mother. The DNA markers are unmistakable. So legally, you have full parental rights. Amelia has no biological connection to the child, and Luke isn't the father despite what they're claiming. Evelyn was writing furiously. This is perfect. Dr. Hamilton, I need you to prepare a full report with DNA analysis, medical records, everything. Can you have it ready by tomorrow morning? Yes, but what about Amelia's threats? Let her make them, Evelyn said coldly. Every threat she makes is another felony charge. As we left the clinic, Bianca grabbed my arm. Lisa, there's one more thing. Something I didn't want to say in front of your lawyer. What? Amelia's been planning this for over a year. She has a whole folder on her computer labeled Project Lisa. It has financial records, copies of your personal documents, even photos of your house with notes about what she wants to change. I felt sick. She's been planning to steal my entire life. Not just planning. She told me once that you didn't deserve what you had, that you were weak and she was stronger, so she should have your life instead. My own sister, I whispered. She's not the person you think she is, Lisa. She never was. My phone buzzed with a text from Luke. Hope you enjoyed your last day of freedom. Tomorrow everything becomes official. You should have just accepted that some women aren't meant to be mothers. I showed the text to Evelyn. Screenshot that, she said. We're going to use every piece of evidence they give us. Are we really going to win this? Evelyn's smile was sharp as a blade. Lisa, by the time I'm done with them, they're going to wish they'd never heard your name. What happens tomorrow? Tomorrow we go to war, and we're going to destroy them completely. The courthouse was packed. Word had somehow gotten out about the case, and reporters were lined up outside. I walked in with Evelyn, trying to ignore the cameras flashing. Luke and Amelia were already seated at the defendant's table with their lawyer. Amelia was holding Raylan, playing the perfect mother for the cameras. Luke had his arm around her protectively. They both looked confident, almost smug. All rise for the Honorable Judge Morrison. Judge Morrison was a stern-looking woman in her 50s. She surveyed the packed courtroom with obvious displeasure. This is a custody hearing, not a circus, she announced. I will clear this courtroom if there are any disruptions. Luke's lawyer, a slick-looking man named Peterson, stood up first. Your Honor, this is a simple case. My clients, Luke and Amelia, are the biological parents of baby Raylan. Ms. Lisa was the surrogate, but the pregnancy occurred naturally during the surrogacy period. My clients are seeking full custody and asking that Ms. Lisa's harassment cease. Harassment? Judge Morrison looked at the paperwork. There's a restraining order in place? Yes, Your Honor. Miss Lisa has been unstable since the birth. She's been stalking my clients and making wild accusations about the baby's parentage. I wanted to jump up and scream, but Evelyn put a firm hand on my arm. Miss Montgomery? Judge Morrison looked at Evelyn. Your Honor, my client is the biological mother of this child. We have DNA evidence, medical records, and proof of an elaborate fraud perpetrated by the defendants. Peterson laughed. Your Honor, Ms. Lisa is clearly having difficulty accepting that she cannot have children. This fantasy about being the biological mother is a delusion. It's not a delusion, Evelyn said calmly. Dr. Hamilton from Hamilton Fertility Services is here to testify. Dante stood up from the gallery, looking nervous but determined. Peterson's confident expression faltered. Your Honor, we weren't informed that Dr. Hamilton would be testifying. Because you didn't know we had him, Evelyn replied smoothly. Dr. Hamilton, please approach the witness stand. As Dante was sworn in, I watched Luke and Amelia's faces. Luke looked confused, but Amelia had gone completely pale. Dr. Hamilton, Evelyn began, you performed the IVF procedure on Lisa on March 15th, correct? Yes. And what was the result of that procedure? The procedure was successful. Ms. Lisa became pregnant with the child in question. Peterson jumped up. Objection! The defendants have medical records showing the procedure failed. What medical records? Judge Morrison asked. Peterson fumbled through his papers. They're being prepared. Dr. Hamilton, Evelyn continued, whose sperm was used in the procedure? Dante took a deep breath. Mine. The courtroom erupted. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. Order. Dr. Hamilton, please explain. I was coerced by Amelia Freeman into using my own genetic material instead of her sister's husband's sample. Coerced how? She was blackmailing me with recordings of our sexual relationship and evidence of financial irregularities at my clinic. Amelia shot to her feet. He's lying. Your Honor, he's obviously been paid to say this. Ms. Freeman, sit down, Judge Morrison ordered. Dr. Hamilton, do you have proof of this alleged blackmail? Evelyn approached the bench with a folder. Your Honor, we have recorded conversations between Dr. Hamilton and Ms. Freeman, as well as text messages between Ms. Freeman and her friend Bianca, detailing the entire conspiracy. I want to hear these recordings. The first recording played through the courtroom speakers. Amelia's voice was crystal clear. Dante, you're going to do exactly what I tell you, or your wife gets a very interesting video collection. Luke turned to stare at Amelia, his face a mask of shock and betrayal. The second recording was even more damning. The plan is working perfectly. Luke thinks he's the father, Lisa will be out of the picture, and I'll have everything she ever had. Your Honor, Peterson said desperately, these recordings could be fabricated. Mr. Peterson, Judge Morrison interrupted, I suggest you let your clients speak for themselves. Ms. Freeman, do you deny making these statements? Amelia's lawyer whispered frantically in her ear, but she pushed him away. She doesn't deserve any of it, Amelia screamed, pointing at me. Lisa's had everything handed to her. The perfect job, the perfect husband, the perfect house. She couldn't even get pregnant on her own. Amelia, shut up, Luke hissed. No, I'm tired of pretending. She's weak and pathetic, and I'm stronger. I should have her life. Judge Morrison's expression was ice cold. Ms. Freeman, are you admitting to fraud? I'm admitting that I took what should have been mine. Luke buried his face in his hands. His lawyer was frantically scribbling notes. Your Honor, Evelyn said, we also have evidence that Ms. Freeman forged adoption documents to try to steal legal custody of the child. That's impossible, Peterson protested. We filed those documents in good faith. You filed forged documents, Evelyn interrupted. Documents with Lisa's signature copied from legitimate surrogacy paperwork. Bianca stood up in the gallery. Your Honor, I have recordings of Amelia admitting to forging those documents. Bianca, you bitch! Amelia lunged toward the gallery, but the bailiff caught her. Ms. Freeman, You will control yourself or be held in contempt, Judge Morrison warned. Luke finally spoke up. Your Honor, I didn't know. I thought the baby was mine. Amelia told me they were having an affair, that the pregnancy was natural. Mr. Luke, Judge Morrison said, are you saying you were also deceived? Yes, I never would have. If I'd known she was lying about everything. Amelia spun around to face him. You coward. You were happy to go along with it when you thought you were getting a free baby and a younger woman. I thought you loved me. I used you, you idiot. Just like I used everyone else. The courtroom was in chaos. Judge Morrison banged her gavel repeatedly. Bailiff, remove Miss Freeman from my courtroom. She's being held in contempt. As Amelia was dragged away, still screaming, she turned back to me. This isn't over, Lisa. You think you've won, but you have no idea what's coming. Judge Morrison waited until the courtroom was quiet again. Based on the evidence presented, I'm immediately awarding full custody of the minor child to Lisa, the biological mother. The restraining order is dissolved. Mr. Peterson, I suggest your remaining client find new representation, because charges are going to be filed. Luke sat alone at the defendant's table, looking completely broken. Your Honor, Evelyn said, we're also seeking immediate return of all property fraudulently taken from my client. Granted. Bailiff, please escort Ms. Lisa to retrieve her daughter. As I walked toward the front of the courtroom, Luke looked up at me with tears in his eyes. Lisa, I'm sorry, I really thought... I didn't know she was lying about everything. I stopped and looked down at him. You knew enough, Luke. You knew enough. Then I took my daughter in my arms for the first time, and she was finally, truly mine. The media circus outside the courthouse was insane. Reporters shoved microphones in my face as I carried Raylan to Evelyn's car. Lisa, how does it feel to get your daughter back? Will you be pressing charges against your sister? What's next for your family? Evelyn pushed through the crowd. No comment. My client needs privacy during this difficult time. Once we were safely in her car, I finally let myself breathe. Raylan was sleeping peacefully in the car seat we'd brought, completely unaware that her entire world had just changed. The house keys, Evelyn said, handing me a set. The judge ordered Luke to vacate immediately. He's staying at a hotel until he can find somewhere permanent. What about Amelia? She's being held pending bail hearing. The DA is filing multiple felony charges: fraud, forgery, conspiracy, blackmail. She's looking at serious prison time. My phone had been buzzing constantly, text after text from numbers I didn't recognize. Don't read those yet, Evelyn warned. Let me screen them first. Some are probably reporters, but others might be threats. Threats? Lisa, you just exposed a major conspiracy. Some people are going to see you as the villain who destroyed a family. We pulled into my driveway again. The house looked exactly the same from the outside, but I knew everything inside would be different. Yvette was waiting on the front porch with grocery bags and a huge smile. Welcome home, she said, hugging me carefully so I wouldn't wake the baby. I stocked the fridge and set up the nursery again. Everything's ready. Inside, the house felt strange. Luke and Amelia had clearly been living here as a couple. Their photos were on the mantel where mine used to be. Amelia's clothes were in my closet. We'll deal with all that later, Yvette said, seeing my expression. Right now, let's focus on getting you and Raylan settled. The nursery broke my heart. It was exactly as I designed it, but there were signs that Amelia had been preparing to make it hers. A different mobile, new curtains, even a nameplate that said Raylan Freeman instead of Raylan Pierce. She really thought she was going to take over my entire life, I said. But she didn't, Evelyn said firmly. You fought back, and you won. My phone rang. It was my mother. Lisa? Honey, I just saw the news. Is it true? About Amelia and Luke? It's all true, Mom. I can't believe it. My own daughter. How could she do this to you? To our family? I don't know, Mom. I really don't know. Your father and I are driving down tomorrow. We want to see our granddaughter and make sure you're okay. After I hung up, Evelyn showed me her phone. The story's already going viral. Quartz Rights Justice for Lisa is trending on Twitter. The headlines were brutal. Sister steals baby and husband in elaborate fraud scheme. Fertility clinic doctor admits to genetic deception. Woman fights back against ultimate betrayal. This is good for your case, Evelyn said, but it's going to make your life complicated for a while. That evening, after Evelyn and Yvette left, I was alone with Raylan for the first time. She was awake, looking up at me with those dark eyes that were definitely Dante's. "Hi, baby girl," I whispered. "I'm your mama. I'm so sorry it took so long for us to be together." She made a small sound and grabbed my finger with her tiny hand. My phone rang again. This time it was Luke. "Lisa, please, can we talk?" "There's nothing to talk about, Luke. I know you hate me, and you have every right to, but I need you to know that I really thought Amelia and I were in love. I thought the baby was mine. You threw me out of my own house, Luke. You served me with divorce papers in a hospital room. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I know, I was an idiot. Amelia was so convincing and I wanted to believe her. Why? Why did you want to believe her?" There was a long pause. "Because she made me feel important again, like I mattered. We'd been trying to have a baby for so long, and every month when it didn't happen, I felt like more of a failure." "So you decided to steal someone else's baby?" "I didn't know it was stealing. I thought it was mine." "But you knew you were stealing my life, my house, my money, my family. Lisa, please. I lost everything too. My job fired me. My family won't speak to me. I'm all over the news as the guy who helped steal a baby." "Good," I said and hung up. 20 minutes later, someone was pounding on my front door. I looked through the peephole and saw Dante. "Lisa, I need to talk to you," he called through the door. I opened it reluctantly. "What do you want?" I wanted to apologize and to ask, "Can I see her? Just once? She's sleeping. I know I have no rights. I know what I did was wrong, but she's my biological daughter, and I need to see that she's okay." I looked at this man who had helped destroy my life, but also, inadvertently, given me the greatest gift I'd ever received. "5 minutes," I said. "That's all." He followed me to the nursery and stood over Raylan's crib, tears streaming down his face. "She's beautiful," he whispered. "She looks like my other kids did when they were born." "Your other kids?" "I have 2 sons with my wife. Had. She filed for divorce this morning." "I'm sorry." "No, you're not. And you shouldn't be. I made my choices." He looked at me. "Lisa, I want you to know that I'm setting up a trust fund for her, for college, whatever she needs. It's the least I can do." "That's not necessary." "Yes, it is. And Lisa, if Amelia ever gets out of prison, if she ever tries to contact you or hurt you, call me. I'll handle it." After he left, I sat in the nursery rocking chair, holding my daughter and thinking about the wreckage left behind. Luke's career was over. Amelia was facing years in prison. Dante had lost his family. The fertility clinic was under investigation. All because my sister couldn't stand that I had something she wanted. My phone buzzed with one more text, this one from an unknown number. "Congratulations on your victory. But this isn't over. Some secrets are bigger than you think. A friend." I stared at the message, feeling a chill run down my spine. What secrets could possibly be bigger than what we'd already uncovered? The anonymous text haunted me for 3 days. I'd shown it to Evelyn, who'd immediately contacted the police, but they said there wasn't much they could do about a vague threat from an unknown number. "It's probably just some internet troll who read about the case," Evelyn assured me. "Don't let it get to you." But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. Every time I left the house with Raylan, I felt eyes on me. Every creak in the house at night made me jump. On Thursday morning, I got my answer. I was feeding Raylan when the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw a woman I didn't recognize, middle-aged, well-dressed, with the same dark hair as Dante. "Can I help you?" I called through the door. "My name is Patricia Hamilton. I'm Dante's wife. We need to talk." I opened the door cautiously. "Mrs. Hamilton, I'm sorry about everything that happened with your husband. I had no idea." "That's not why I'm here." She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. "May I come in?" "What I have to tell you? It's not safe to discuss on your doorstep." Something in her voice made me step aside. She followed me to the living room, where Raylan was in her bouncer. Patricia stared at the baby for a long moment. "She does look like my boys did at that age." "Mrs. Hamilton, what did you want to tell me?" She pulled out a thick manila envelope. "I've been going through Dante's files since the trial. There are things that didn't come out in court." "What kind of things?" "Amelia wasn't his only victim. There were other women, other procedures where samples were switched." Patricia's hands were shaking. "Lisa, your sister didn't just target you. She was running a much bigger operation." I felt the blood drain from my face. "What do you mean?" "Amelia was selling babies. Rich couples who wanted children with specific genetic traits, women who couldn't afford fertility treatments but were willing to be surrogates. She was matching them up and taking money from both sides." "That's impossible." Patricia opened the envelope and spread documents across my coffee table. Bank records showing payments from at least 12 different couples, medical records from other fertility clinics, email exchanges discussing genetic compatibility and premium pricing. I stared at the papers. "How many babies?" "Oh, at least 8 that I can prove. Maybe more." Patricia pointed to one of the bank statements. "Look at this deposit. $50,000, 2 days after a baby was born to a surrogate in California." "Why are you telling me this? Why not go to the police?" "Because I tried. They said the evidence was obtained illegally since I took it from Dante's private files. But you're already involved in this case. You have standing to bring this information forward." My phone rang. It was Evelyn. "Lisa, you need to get down here right now. Amelia's lawyer is trying to cut a deal, and there's something you need to hear." "I'll be right there." I hung up and looked at Patricia. "Come with me. Bring everything." At the courthouse, Evelyn met us in the hallway outside the DA's office. "What's going on?" I asked. "Amelia's claiming she has information about a larger conspiracy. She wants to trade it for a reduced sentence." "She's not lying," Patricia said, holding up the envelope. "But she's not the victim she's pretending to be. She was the ringleader." We went into the DA's office, where Amelia sat with her lawyer. She looked terrible. Orange jumpsuit, no makeup, her hair unwashed. When she saw me, her eyes filled with hatred. "Lisa," she said coldly. "Still playing the victim, I see." "Ms. Freeman," the DA said, "you claim to have information about other crimes. Let's hear it." "I was being blackmailed," Amelia said, "forced to participate in a baby trafficking ring. I have names, dates, financial records." "That's a lie," Patricia said, stepping forward. "I have proof that you were running the operation." Amelia's face went white when she saw Patricia. "What is she doing here?" "Exposing the truth," Patricia said, dumping the contents of her envelope on the table. "Every transaction, every forged document, every stolen baby. It's all here." The DA picked up the bank records. "Ms. Freeman, these show payments going into accounts under your name. Those were planted. I was being framed." "By who?" Evelyn asked. "You're claiming someone set up an elaborate frame job that included blackmailing your sister's fertility doctor and stealing her baby?" Amelia's lawyer whispered frantically in her ear, but she pushed him away. "Fine!" she screamed. "Yes, I did it. I organized the whole thing, but Lisa deserved it. She had everything and I had nothing." "So you decided to steal babies and sell them?" the DA asked. I gave those babies to families who could afford to love them properly, unlike Lisa, who couldn't even get pregnant without help. The room was silent. Even Amelia's lawyer looked stunned. Ms. Freeman, the DA said quietly, you just confessed to human trafficking. The deal is off the table. As they led Amelia away, she turned back to me one last time. You think you've won, but you'll never be safe. There are people involved in this who won't let it end here. Is that a threat? The DA asked. It's a promise. 2 weeks later, the FBI raided fertility clinics in 6 states. The baby trafficking ring Amelia had been running was bigger than anyone imagined. 12 babies had been stolen and sold. 8 couples were arrested for buying children. 4 doctors lost their licenses. Dante cooperated fully with the investigation and received a reduced sentence. Patricia and I testified at every trial, helping to reunite stolen children with their biological parents. The anonymous text messages stopped after Amelia was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. I'm writing this now, sitting in my living room while Raylan naps in her crib. She's 6 months old, healthy and happy, and completely mine. The house is quiet, peaceful in a way it never was when Luke lived here. My parents visit every weekend. Yvette comes by almost daily. Even Bianca stops by sometimes. She's in therapy now, trying to process how completely Amelia manipulated her. Luke moved across the country. He sends child support payments and a birthday card, but he's never asked to see Raylan. I think he's too ashamed. The trust fund Dante set up for Raylan now has contributions from all the families whose children were returned. It should be enough to pay for college and then some. People ask me if I regret fighting back, if the revenge was worth it. They want me to say I feel guilty about destroying so many lives. I don't. Amelia didn't just steal my baby. She stole babies from dozens of families. She destroyed lives for profit. She deserved everything that happened to her. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't found that letter from the fertility clinic, if I just accepted that my sister and husband had betrayed me and moved on. Those other stolen babies would still be with the wrong families. Those other mothers would still be grieving children they thought were lost forever. Justice isn't always pretty, but it's necessary, and now, finally, it's done.